For most of my childhood, I had one singular dream: to play professional basketball. I found one avenue to get myself out of small-town northern Idaho for good, and I did everything I could to make that happen. It started almost 2 decades ago in the basement of my childhood home, during the dark Idaho winters, watching VHS recordings of the 2003 NBA playoffs by the warmth of a pellet stove. And in the few hours of daylight that we had, my little brother and I would shovel snow off the driveway and practice everything we saw in those replays. In between stints of splitting firewood with a malformed wedge and a 20-pound sledge, we would practice pick and rolls and give and goes until our hands got numb and we had to pull our gloves back on. When I got a bit older, a public rec center was built in town, and I would spend hours and hours there with my friends doing most of the same thing. If there were other people, we would run pickup games. If I was alone, I would just shoot and shoot and shoot. Everything I did was to try to get better at basketball, to pursue this harebrained dream of getting to the NBA. I was homeschooled for most of my schooling until 10th grade, and when I started attending a local school, my chance finally came to play basketball on an organized team. Up until that point, I'd only been playing with my friends, random people in the gym, or my older brother's college friends. But finally, I would be able to have somewhere to show everything I'd been practicing all those years. As it turned out, playing against other people that also practice a lot was significantly more difficult than stationary logs in the icy driveway. Reality quickly set in, and I realized that I had no chance to make it to the NBA, so I set my sights on something a bit more attainable: college basketball. I still worked hard, or at least it seemed like it to a 17-year-old that didn't know what I was up against. A few years in a small Christian high school league in northern Idaho and Washington was apparently not enough to get noticed by any college coaches. But after a couple of exposure camps in other parts of the country, and being recruited by a handful of schools, I finally found a place on a team from a small Division III school in Georgia. It wasn't my ultimate dream, but over the years I had adjusted my expectations so that my dreams were somewhat reasonable. My years of work since the time I was strong enough to get the ball to a full-sized basket had paid off. I had worked hard enough to make it out of the town I had spent my childhood in, and that was a win. Nonetheless, I spent those years in Georgia working to get better. I wanted to be an asset to my team. I wanted to put everything into this opportunity that I had been given. After all, just because I had achieved this dream, it didn't mean that this was the end. So for 4 years, I did everything in my power to understand the game and become the best player I could. For myself, for my teammates, and for the 7-year-old James that had first seen the orange sphere sink through the knotted nylon above the garage door. Then, in February 2014, I played my last college game. I still remember how it ended. I remember watching from the corner three-point line as our point guard drove and hit a buzzer-beating floater to win the game. I couldn't have asked for a better way to be sent off the court for the last time. But as I sat in the locker room after the last teammate had walked out, I sobbed. Tears streamed down my face as I thought about everything that I had done through my entire life to this point, and now it was just over. Just like that. The clock hit 0, the lights were turned off, and that one dream that had given me purpose through my entire life was done. Finished. And I didn't know what to do next. It's been a little over 10 years since I walked off that court. A decade since I sat in that empty room looking around at the names on the lockers through misty eyes. Feels like an entire lifetime ago. I have missed playing competitively. I have missed being part of a true team that are all united for one goal. I have missed spending hours on the hardwood, where I felt like I could put the pieces back together when things fell apart. The place where everything made sense. My escape. And now, at 32 years old, almost 25 years since I first had the dream, I've signed a professional basketball contract for the first time in my life. I've been working for the past few months to get back into shape to be able to play again. It's taken lots of long hours in the gym shooting, playing, and lifting weights. I've been battling knee problems that came raging back for the first time in a decade. But this time, unlike when I was younger, I'm finding joy in the process. The late nights in the gym, the mornings in the weight room, and the hours spent on the floor stretching muscles that I'd forgotten existed. This time, I'm not letting go of this lifelong dream unfolding right in front of me. A dream that I had adjusted because it seemed impossible has somehow come back and presented itself to me again. I'm getting another chance. Another chance to form the bonds with teammates that I've had before. A chance to play for something more. An opportunity to celebrate what I've been given, and this time I know I will savor every moment, because I know my time is limited. I know this won't last forever, and I know that when I hang up my shoes after this chapter is done, I've completed what I set out to do. But that's still a ways away. So until then, I hope you'll enjoy being along for the ride. Thanks for sticking with me. I'll be back soon.